This is Ndtv, and you're watching Classics.
Hello and welcome to a very special episode of Reality Bites. On this program, we have tracked the nerve of the big story wherever it unfolds, from the line of control to the hurly-burly of national politics. Often these stories have been depressing. They've been about war and conflict, death and destruction, and of course the grief and disillusionment of the ordinary Indian citizen. Well, for once, we're happy to break that trend. We're trying to bring you a story this time that's a little more upbeat, a story to lift the heart. The Oscars are right around the corner, and for once, Indians have something to root for. Lagaan. I'm joined this morning in Mumbai, right next to the beach, noisy beach, by Aamir Khan, the producer of Lagaan, and of course the lead actor in the film as well. Thanks, Aamir, for joining us on the show. Before I get into the interview, I want to quote something to you from an earlier interview of yours to a journalist for a newspaper. You say, talking of awards, I have absolutely no interest in any of the award functions held in India. I don't respect them and cannot hold them in high esteem. It's completely immaterial for me. I never go to any award function. Since I don't value an award, there's no question of accepting any. Now it's the Oscars. Is this different?
Well, I'm hoping it is. Actually, for me, I think it's very difficult to judge whether one film is better than the other or one performance is better than the other. I mean, to actually objectively judge that is extremely difficult. For me, an award function, right when I began acting in '88, meant that it was a day when the industry got together and, felicitated each other and encouraged each other's good work. And I used to attend these functions with that mood and with that, with that sentiment, emotion and sentiment. But in the first 3 or 4 years that I did attend, I realized that it was not getting. I mean, it was becoming quite complicated.
What do you mean by complicated?
Well,
that's a polite sort of word.
Yeah, I'm trying to be polite about it. I think that there were a lot of inconsistencies, in these award ceremonies, and I didn't think they were above board, in my opinion.
You say that even though so many of those awards chose you.
Yes, I still say that. So they lost value and meaning for me.
But for example, Lagaan picked up so many awards at the Filmfare Awards ceremony recently. Did you not even feel happy?
No, because it really has no value for me. It makes no difference to me what that organization feels about my film. What matters to me is what the audience feels about my film. As far as the Oscars is concerned, I'm looking upon it as an opportunity for Lagaan and thereafter Indian cinema to make a place in the world scenario, in international cinema. I think that if it is successful at the Oscars, it will get a very high viewership.
That's a commercial perspective.
Not a commercial perspective, it's a creative perspective. I want people to see it.
Okay, fair enough. But does the award itself, even if it's the Oscar, have no meaning for you?
As I said earlier, it has that much meaning for me. That, for example, there are 5 films in the foreign language film category. I've seen one of them, Emily. It's a very good film. Yeah. How do you judge whether Emily is a better film or Lagaan is a better film? Because they're about totally 2 different topics. Yeah. So let's say if Lagaan won the Oscar, I would not seriously believe that yes, Lagaan is actually a better film than Emily. I think they're both equally good films. They're about different topics.
You mean that if you don't win, you shouldn't take it to heart?
No, and if you win, you shouldn't take it to heart either.
But tell me something. You speak about Indian awards and the selection process behind them. The Oscars, many people would say, are not necessarily any more fair.
See, when I'm speaking about the various award ceremonies held in India, I have personal first-hand experience of them. Of the Oscars, I have none. So when I went there, I first and foremost found out how it operates. Yeah. And I discovered that there are about 6,000 members in the academy. Of them, approximately 600 are part of a committee which selects the 5 nominations for foreign language film. Now these 600 people are again broken up into 3 groups. And the 51 films that I've entered this year are also broken up into 3 groups. And each group has to see roughly 18 films. And each member has to see at least 80% of the films in his group to be eligible to vote.
But everybody says that you need to lobby hard to even make it to this stage. Not to take away from Lagaan, but this
yes.
is what people say about.
Well, I'll tell you
how
what
it
we did,
works.
and you decide whether what we did is. You see, lobbying has a very negative
Connotation,
to it. And let me tell you what we did, and then you can decide what we did and what impact it had. When we went to LA, Ash and I, our only aim was to show the film to as many people as possible.
Okay.
And let the film speak for itself. I actually met Shekhar on the way into LA. I met him in London. And Shekhar said, Aamir, there's a lot of lobbying going on and there's a lot of politics over there. And there's no way you guys are even going to come close to getting nominated. So with this encouraging message, Ash and I landed in LA. And the feedback we got was that most of the members do not see the film from India. Not because they don't like India, but because in the past few years, the films that have come in from India have not been very good. So we went about showing the film to as many people as we could. And we were hoping that people who saw our film would like it. And the film would have a strength of its own. And there would be enough curiosity about the film by the time the official date of the screening came up, which is the Academy screening, where the members are supposed to come and watch the film.
But tell me something, Aamir, sorry to cut you short there, but for someone who resisted for so long in the industry from even having a public relations person, this must be a new role for you to go out there with your film.
Yes, it was.
Like I mean, to be a kind of traveling, not a PR person, but a spokesperson for your own body of work.
Yeah, I was a spokesperson. Ashu and I were both spokespersons. But we were not trying to sell our film. We weren't saying, it's a great film, watch it, and we ought to win. We weren't doing that. We just said, we made a film, we'd like you to see it.
But tell me something, a film like Lagaan, which has so much of its humor, for example, is so specific to our culture as we know it. I mean, it's Indians understand it, the subcontinent particularly loves cricket. All of that. I mean, there's a lot of flavor in it that I'm wondering if somebody sitting in LA
would like it.
Can understand, actually.
You have to see their response to understand to what degree they like the film. Actually, before we even went there, the film was shown at Locarno Film Festival, which is in Switzerland. And the audience was made up of German, French, Italian and Swiss people. The response was outstanding. They were applauding after every song. There were people dancing in the aisles in Mithua. Now, this is not an Indian audience. In the scene where I say Sart Manjoor hai, before I say it, they were shouting, accept the bet and go for it in their various languages.
What do you think works best in Lagaan? What do you think really is your favorite, let's say, moment in the film or aspect of the film?
I think it's the unusual story. I think it's a very preposterous story, actually.
Who's your favorite character in the film?
That's a tough one. That's a really tough one. I don't know.
No?
I don't know. I think, I think Bhuvan is a wonderful character, but I think so is Gauri, so is Elizabeth. Maybe Guran, I think he's quite mad.
I was going to say that. He was my favorite.
Yeah.
He was my favorite. Because he had this eccentricity and yet he seemed totally believable.
Yeah.
You watch your films in the cinema hall on the first day they release. You try to do that usually. Did you do that with Lagaan?
Well, not on the first day because we were not in India. But we came back the next day and within the first week we saw the film a number of times in various theatres in Bombay. And it was very emotional because the way the audience was reacting to the film, it was...
Did they know you were there?
No, they didn't know I was there.
Where were you?
I normally hide somewhere in the theatre. Let me not reveal where I hide.
Under the seat. Look under your seat the next time. But you were producing for the first time. How was that?
It was a wonderful experience and a huge learning experience. And
were you calm or are you a nervous?
No, I was quite calm. I think I'm not a nervous sort. And also I am the kind of person who gets after things. I mean, it took me a year to decide whether to do the film or not. And then once I decide on something, I don't normally weaken in the process. I just jump in completely and